Hello, my name is Skylar Schwartz, and you're listening to another episode of the Minnesota Fandom Factor. I have with me today a very special guest, the convention chair of MNFurs themselves. It's Rico Raccoon. Say hi.
Hey, how's it going?
The Minnesota Fandom Factor. Okay, so can you tell me about MNFurs and furry migration?
Yeah, so MNFurs is actually a nonprofit here in Minnesota. We're a 501c3 educational nonprofit with a focus on the furry fandom. The furry fandom is a group of people that have an interest in basically animals of human characteristics. So to kind of keep it short, because I'm sure we'll talk more about it, Minnesota Furs was actually founded about 11 years ago because people wanted to have a group to get together with, and they eventually wanted a convention. So we've been around for 11 years now.
Cool. That's great. How did you come to furry fandom?
Oh, it goes even further back. I graduated high school in 2009, and so back in high school, I always had an interest in video games like Spyro the Dragon and Crash Bandicoot and all those different things, Sly Cooper, and I always thought the characters were kind of cool. And then I learned that there was a group of people that kind of catered to that interest group, people that would write stories, draw artwork, and do costuming around that. So that's kind of how I got pulled into it. The furry fandom has something called fursuits. And a fursuit is something that somebody will create of a character of their own. You can't see it, but in the studio I have a kangaroo head of one of my newest suits that I had made. I'm not creative enough to make something like that, but I remember back in high school I was working a dishwasher job, and I was saving every penny that I got to eventually commission someone to make one of those. So my first character, which is a raccoon, is very special to me because I was making minimum wage to eventually purchase these very expensive costumes.
Yeah, they're very expensive. That's awesome. What relationships have you formed like from this community?
For me, it's turned into a lifestyle, as most fandoms do for people. I know that there's some people that are into anime or people that are into My Little Pony that turn into a lifestyle. I would say about 90% of my friends are in the furry fandom because I meet so many different people through conventions, on Discord, gaming groups. So a lot of it surrounds that. And actually, I'm married, and my husband I met through the furry fandom. And the furry fandom has been there for me for so many different parts of life, including difficult parts, that I want to give something back to the furry fandom. And that's how I kind of got pulled into MNFurs and furry migration as leadership and on the board of directors.
That's something that I like personally love about fandom is that it is like a lifestyle, and it's just something it feels like it's there for you, you know, like finding that there's other people who have the same interests as you, and then just being able to meet these like-minded people. It's just really nice.
Yeah, it's really nice because it's somewhere that you can go at, either if it's a Discord group or meetups physically in person. You can be yourself and not be worried about judgment.
Yeah.
You can, like you said, meet like-minded people that think the same thing as you do. And that's why it was crazy for me back in high school when I met other people that also liked the cartoon animal characters, that, wow, there's other people around that will have the same similar interests. Because I didn't know about furry until I met others. So it's really relieving to meet other people that are like-minded.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you feel like the fandom has changed over the years, like since you became interested in it?
Yeah, furry has been a thing for a very long time. It goes way back, and it's like most fandoms, it has evolved and grown. It's not all about the costuming. That's one common misconception that people make, is that furry is all about owning a costume and playing that character. It's advanced into much more than that. There's furry video game producers. It's more than just costuming. It's writing, it's storytelling, it's poems, it's music. It's so much more. And costuming also has advanced as well with technology. The one head that I have here in the studio is just fabric. But there's other costumists out there that get really creative with putting technology in their fursuit heads, of like Arduinos where the ears will move, or digital eyes where the eyes will actually look around. I host a series of meetups within Minnesota Furs that does events throughout the year of people in technology that like to integrate technology. Like one person put a Arduino in their head that will measure moisture inside the head, and it will kick on a fan if it hits a certain threshold. So
That's so nice.
it's really cool to see what people do with technology in these costumes.
Yeah. Oh, I love those ones with like the eyes that move around and like the tail that moves around. It's so cool.
It gets expensive, especially when you start putting, not cheap. When you start putting technology in costumes, especially if you don't have the creativeness. Like I can do technology stuff because my day job, I'm a software developer, so that's fine to me. But when it comes to a sewing machine and fabric and patterns, I couldn't even.
That's fair enough. So we're talking about MNFurs. What do you think makes Minnesota's fandom unique?
Yeah, Minnesota Furs is actually very unique in the sense that we do things throughout the year. A lot of conventions, and Furry Migration is not the only furry convention. There's so many more.
Yeah.
And it's also an international thing.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that makes Minnesota Furs special is a lot of these conventions have a nonprofit backing it to do the convention. With Minnesota Furs here in the state, we thought, why stop when the convention stops? I mean, the fandom doesn't disappear when the convention's over. When the weekend's over, there's no reason to stop.
Yeah.
So Minnesota Furs, we do events all year round. This year alone, we have done 117 events.
Wow. Yeah, I noticed that when I was looking on your website, you have like picnics and like get-togethers and stuff like throughout the year, and that is awesome. Because sometimes it kind of feels like your community is very condensed when you go to like this one convention and it's like 2 days out of the year, and then it's like, oh, now it's over. Just wait until next year, I guess, you know? It's nice to have that feeling of like, oh, it keeps going.
Yeah, the nice thing about Minnesota Furs is it's entirely, just like the convention, it's entirely volunteer driven, which includes all of our events. Nobody's paid to do anything. I wish I was paid because it's a lot of work. But it's really nice because nobody's paid. People will come to Minnesota Furs with an interest, like a sub-interest within the fandom. Like some people, like this weekend, there's a camping event where a bunch of furries will go out camping at state parks. And so they do that quarterly. Like I said before, there's the software engineer meetups that I do where people with an interest in software engineering can go. There's art jams where people like to draw will meet up. So it's really cool because, like you said, 2 days is a short span for a large group of people to find a niche interest group. So when they're done with the convention, they can come over to Minnesota Furs and be like, hey, I want to meet more people and continue this trend. And there's so many different subsets of events for people.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think that's a really great approach to have. We've been talking about our experiences here, and, you know, as a furry, notoriously, you've gotten bad press. So why is it important for us fans to be telling our own stories?
Because the story for everyone is different. No two people are exactly the same. So telling their own story for what furry means to them is important. With any fandom, every fandom's going to have the raunchy side, right? And there's no escaping that. It's just, I'm not sure why it is about furry that it's pulled so much press attention. For me, it's about the community, meeting new people, and the costuming is a big part of it for me.
Yeah.
But also, I like the storytelling. It's really cool to see people write stories and fan fictions on things. And it's different for everybody else. My partner, they're a commercial pilot, so they like to meet other furries that are commercial pilots. And you would be surprised on how many furries work in the commercial aviation industry. Furry is different for everybody. And it's really interesting to see, based off of people's interests, it kind of determines their quote-unquote persona. A fursona is a character within the furry fandom that somebody says is what they believe defines them as a character. I only have a kangaroo because kangaroos are cool. But my initial character was a raccoon, and I chose raccoons because I stay up late. Sometimes they eat stuff that's really not good for me. And having an interest in technology, I've always had a fascination with finding technology out of dumpsters and bringing new life to them. But somebody into aviation will choose a character like a bird because they like aviation, and aviation means a lot to them, so they'll choose a bird. And it's really interesting to find people when you go to a convention. You'll meet someone who's a badger, and you'll ask, "Why did you choose badger?" And everybody's story is different.
I think that's a good answer. What do you feel like is a joyful or like a squee moment that you've experienced in this fandom?
It's the one thing I don't really talk about a lot, and it's the leadership stuff from the convention. It's a lot of work running a convention.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's a furry convention. It's across the board. Anime conventions, Star Trek conventions, video game conventions, speedrunning conventions. It all is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And so kind of my squee moment is it's all volunteer work, and it's a thankless job. Convention weekend, when you see everyone together enjoying themselves, last year it was 2,243 attendees. When you're during that convention weekend, you just see all 2,000 people enjoying themselves, being themselves, and finding other people and having fun. I think that's the biggest squee moment for me, is just bringing people together and continuing this fandom forward.
Nice. Yeah. Seeing it all come together.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
If you were to choose, so I mentioned fursonas.
Yeah.
If you were to choose a fursona, what would you choose and why?
Oh, okay. I actually do have one. So I will probably show a picture. My fursona is kind of weird because it's anthroed a bit differently than normal, but his name is Horrible Cat, and he's like a cat with a human nose. I just started drawing this horrible cat because I needed something to do with my hands, and I just kept drawing it, and I would make it say all these different things, like draw it on like every whiteboard or like every empty surface or like my notebook, and it just became like an alter ego of mine. And my favorite like furry character is John Blacksad, who is just like this. He's just like a cat, and it's in like a noir detective sort of universe, and he's just so moody and so dramatic. I kind of put that into my character. And now when people ask me for like a headshot for a project, I'm like, can I just use this character? Because I feel like it represents me almost better than just a picture of my face would. Like, it tells you more about me. And so I think fursonas are just such an interesting way to like express yourself and present yourself to the world as you feel yourself, because especially for maybe like trans folks or just anyone really, you feel like you have less control over your body and how you look, but in your fursona you have complete control. You can look how you want people to see you, and that's really powerful.
Yeah, there's a group of people that are consider themselves otherkin. I think that's the word for it. Where
Yeah.
they would believe that they're an animal in a human body. For me, and like you mentioned earlier with storytelling, everyone's different. For me, it's kind of fun to have that escape, like you said. I'm happy with my human body, everything, but it's fun for just a weekend or just a day to go out and pretend to be a kangaroo or pretend to be a raccoon and just create this character who you're not. And it's real fun because some people will go real heavy into storytelling behind their character and having backstory, and it's just fun to just have that escape from the societal norms and just be something different.
I was going to ask you about all your props and stuff.
Oh yeah. So you can't see it here, but maybe you'll have photos or something.
I will have photos, yes.
We have these badges that we do for Minnesota Furs because we're a nonprofit.
Yeah.
We don't, but things cost money to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we rent the Hyatt, that's not free. And when we have the Oval Meets at the Roseville Oval Skate Center, that's not free either. So we do these fundraising things where we sell these badges. And so we'll feature artwork from our community here, and they'll do artwork for the badges, and we'll sell these badges. So it's really cool because these are just artwork from some of the artists in our community here.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, so these are the badges, and people put their names on them.
Nice.
You'll notice that it says Rico everywhere. My real name is Sean.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just kind of like, I'm sure you have an internet alias as well. It's just something that's just kind of stuck to me. And so it's funny at work, people ask, who's Rico? I thought you were Sean. And then this is just kind of a character badge that some people will wear at a convention.
Nice.
This is just a badge on a clip that's laminated with the character here drawn out. And you can see on the badge that a lot of the markings and everything match. And these eyelids come off.
Oh, they come off.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
So it's cool little different features like that. Like now it's a completely different expression.
You're like, oh, I'm feeling tired. Let me just pull out my eyelids real quick.
Yeah, let me get my tired eyes on. So what you can't see right now is the character head I have here at the studio has Velcroed eyelids. So you can really change up the expressions. And sometimes it's funny just to try new things and do like that. So that's what this kind of stuff is.
Sure.
And this was made by a local fursuit maker named Fedora Fursuits. She does this full time, which is crazy to think that this is her full time job that pays for all of her expenses and everything. But it's a lot of work.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's amazing to have like a creative job, but it is a lot of work.
Yeah. So Minnesota Furs is our year-round group. More information can be found at MNFurs.org. And then Furry Migration, which is our convention coming up in September, that's furrymigration.org. And something else I just wanted to call out, I don't think a lot of people realize this, but we have a lot of members in Minnesota. Since our incorporation as a nonprofit, which I have, it's real serious stuff because I have the articles of incorporation here.
Oh, wow.
Because we're a nonprofit, which is crazy to think that furries are recognized by the IRS as a nonprofit.
That's great.
Yeah.
I mean...
And so in this document here, this is kind of incorporated as a nonprofit. And if anyone wants to learn how to, because different states want to do their own conventions, they want to do more. They want to be more than just a group that meets at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Incorporating yourself as a nonprofit like this is really not that hard. If anyone wants more information, we're more than happy to help. Directors at MNFurs.org is our email. But since we started, we have 4,317 registered members.
Oh, that's great.
And more recently, kind of the more active ones is 1,324. That's a lot of furries.
That's a lot of people
in Minnesota.
Yeah.
So we also have a code of conduct because we think it's really important that people can come to our events and feel comfortable and not be discriminated or anything. So we have this code of conduct to make sure that people can come and feel safe and everything. So yeah, we got all kinds of different things. A little bit something different for everybody.
I'm gonna ask you one last question, which is, what is something that you think everyone should know about furry fandom or Minnesota Furs?
You never know who's a furry, and it's important to treat others how you'd like to be treated. Just because somebody likes to dress up as a kangaroo on a weekend out of the year doesn't mean they're a bad person. It's just the same as any other fandom, that if somebody likes MLP or if somebody is really a big fan of an anime series, everybody is still a person and people still have feelings. I think that if somebody is really curious about what furry is and what it means to be furry, go to a convention. Find a convention. Most states have a convention now at this point. Go to a convention, just pay for the admission to go to the weekend and see what it's all about. Honestly, when you go to a convention, you'll learn that these are just people like anybody else. People like to go to these conventions to dance, buy things, hang out with other people, play video games, and just be themselves.
Yeah. I think that it's really cool to see all of like the obvious thought that has just been put into this. I mean, that's kind of an understatement, but you know, I can tell that you are like really emphasizing on wanting people to be able to feel safe and to enjoy themselves. And I think that's really cool that you have just obviously taken this very seriously and just given this a lot of thought. So
yeah, we want to be something more than just a group of friends that run events in our spare time. We don't want to turn anyone away just because somebody doesn't like somebody else. Mm-hmm. We're all human. We all don't like somebody. So it's really nice to be able to say, for someone to say, I want to go to these Minnesota Furs events and not feel like just because somebody doesn't like them, they can't go.
Yeah.
That's why, and a lot of people laugh at us for having, like here in my hands right now in the studio, I have our bylaws of Minnesota Furs. People will laugh at us and say, really, you guys are furries and you have an 8-page document of the bylaws of the board of directors for furry? But when you look at it, there's people out there that are hateful.
Yeah.
And we unfortunately live in a world where we need this kind of structure where people can come to these events and not worry about being laughed at or discriminated.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of us have probably been to like a poorly managed convention or, you know, fan gathering, and you can tell. Like, you might not notice when it's well managed, but if it's poorly managed and it's not thought out, you can tell. It's a different feeling, and it is not a good feeling.
Yeah, and there's some on the topic of bad press. There are some conventions out there that have attempted to start, didn't have good leadership in some facets, and failed. And unfortunately, these conventions are what pulls the attention of the media.
Yeah, of course.
There's conventions out there in the New England area that had bad leadership that didn't care about their image, and now unfortunately there's YouTube videos on the failure of these conventions. And some conventions have failed so bad that in that area, hotels talk to other hotels.
Oh,
If your furry convention has a bad experience at their hotel and does damage, hotels talk to each other, and then that's now a hotel will hear, oh, furry, we don't want them at our hotel. So it's really important to have structure and in all of this. But just because there's structure doesn't mean people can't have fun.
Yeah, I think that the structure allows for an environment where you can have fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, thank you for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
The Minnesota Fandom Factor,